Okay, and right on the money going live. Get that studio light going. There we go. And good afternoon. I see there's already one person out there. Oh my goodness, there's five people out there. Come on in. Introduce yourself here in the chat window. Let me turn this that distracting sound off. Hey, there you are. Wow. So this time I got the announcement right, and everything looks good. How's the sound on your end? I couldn't believe at the beginning how many people piled in. We had like 5 and 7, and then they all left. Okay, good. So this will be our last one at 2:30 on Thursdays. We're moving to Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That means 3 p.m. EDT, 3 p.m. EST. Okay, great. So I got the announcement right this time, and I made sure that it wasn't set to private. So Marks, what's going on? I see somebody else join. Introduce yourself in the chat window. Whoops, they're gone. I guess we've got a lot of lookers now after that one video got over 1,300 views. The one that Linux is not for normies, that one kind of went viral. And it triggered quite a few subscribers. Okay, still working on WordPress. Well, I'd like to bring up some topics here. I'm going to talk about processors, the rule of 7 and 9. 7 and 9. 7 is a lucky number and 9 is a good number. When it comes to picking a processor, it's not like you buy a computer every year. Most people buy a new computer every 5, 6, 7 years. And, it can cost money. It's not just a new computer, it's some of the new peripherals that go with it, maybe a new printer, maybe a camera, maybe a scanner. You never want to short yourself on processing power. I'll never understand why Intel still makes an i3 processor because it's practically worthless. And the i5 is not that much better. So I always recommend to people buy a processor, and the same thing goes with the Ryzen. Forget the Ryzen 5, get a 7 or a 9. Do yourself a favor, because as soon as you buy a processor, it's obsolete already. Okay, and so go ahead and enjoy the benefits of a stronger processor, a 7 or a 9. You only live once. Treat yourself to a better processor and you'll be thankful. Yeah. So how's that new computer working for you, Marks? The one with a 7 processor. I believe it's a 76 an i7 7600 in there. How's that working for you? Yeah, and that sound you hear in the background, that's a neighbor using their backyard as a target shooting range. And there's not much we can do about that here, because I live in a place where people can do just about anything they want to. Okay. Well, my question was, how is that new computer with the i7 7600 processor working for you? Okay, you said it's working good. Well, I'm hoping that we're going to have some more people join, because some of the people who came by last Monday morning of this week, of this particular week, subscribed to the channel, and they should have gotten notice about today's live session. And this will be the last one on Thursday afternoon. I see somebody else just joined. Come on, introduce yourself, put your name here in the chat window. Let's see, we have some more people who just joined. Come on, it's a friendly environment here. It's judgment free. You can ask any question you want to here, as long as it's not religion and politics. We can talk about computers, photography. We were just talking about CPUs. When it comes time to buy a new computer, never short yourself. Don't do that. Always get the 7 or 9 processor. Because you're going to have the computer for what, 4 years, 5 years? When you take the price difference between a i7 and an i5 and average that over 5 years, it's like less than a penny per day. Yeah, so don't do that. And the noise you hear in the background, some neighbors next door are using that's right, are using their backyard as a target, a pistol range. And they fired up this like 5 minutes before 2:30. And there's not much we can do about that, because in this neighborhood that I live in, freedom is the word here. You pretty much can do anything you want. Yeah. Well, I see we have somebody else out there. Come on in, introduce yourself, put your name here in the chat window. Let's get things going. I wish, and I think Mark's on Sunday, we're going to see a lot more people in here. Thursday was a good starting point, but I think Thursday kind of cripples the audience because of the work situation here in the United States. And also on Sunday at 3 o'clock, we can get people in California who are just waking up at noon. Yeah. What do you think about the new time? I think it's going to work out great. So I see we had some more people join. This is the Linux Hour, where we chat and answer questions about Linux. We also talk about using Linux for video and audio production. And we talk about computers. We talk about other things too. It's a beautiful day here in Kingsport. The weather is 61 degrees. The humidity is 29%. And tomorrow is going to be another beautiful day, starting out at 38, a high of 62. Hey, welcome. Okay, that's an interesting chat, Nick. Poor Bezos, because as far as I know, Bezos has plenty of money. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Great to have you join us today. And just a reminder that we're moving to a new time, and we will have one this Sunday. It's Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time in the United States. Great, is have somebody completely new to Linux. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're located, and what distribution are you using? Okay, well, that is fantastic. Okay, so GNOME is a desktop, and so is something called Plasma. It's also known as KDE. That's another desktop. And then there's Cinnamon. And then there's a brand new one. So the thing about Linux, unlike Windows, you're in Sydney and you're using POP. Well, there you go. Okay, Mark's put another one in there. Okay, so you're using Pop OS. Good for you. I'm using it in the other room. Are you on 22.04 or 24.04? Okay. Yeah, you really want to wait until after December 11. Okay. On December 11, they're going to roll out the final version of 2404. That comes out on December 11th. And that'll be the final version. Yeah, please wait, because I'm testing it myself, the beta test, and I downloaded some updates on Monday, and it just totally, it didn't totally ruin everything, but there were a lot of problems created by that. So you definitely want to wait until December 11th to get into it, especially since you're new. But you're really going to like Cosmic. It's stunningly fast. It's a stunner for sure. Hey, got a couple other folks out there. Come on in. Introduce yourself here in the chat window. Okay. Yeah, the present Cosmic you're using is based on GNOME or GNOME. Okay. What it is, it's a modified version. Yeah, they put something in there called extensions. Yeah, they put GNOME extensions in there to get it to do certain things, give it a certain look, give it a certain feel. Okay. All right. You're going to see a big speed increase on the new version. Yeah, that's one that exactly, because all those extensions are written in JavaScript and they execute very slow, whereas the new desktop has all of those extensions are built into the Cosmic, except that's all written in a language that's as fast as C. So basically it's all in a very high speed language that executes on your computer very quickly versus JavaScript. Right. Okay, I see we have quite a few concurrent viewers out there. Welcome and good afternoon, depending on where you are. Come on in, introduce yourself here in the chat window, and we can talk. We can answer your questions. This is the Linux Hour, chat, questions, and answers. No, they won't. But don't worry, because Cosmic has its own set of tweaks. Let me get you that information. Just a second. I'm surprised I don't already have a link here created. Ed Flores. Let me type it in. Yeah, here it is. Let me show this to you on my screen. Just a second. So people have already created a screen here. Let's see. I want to get the right one here. I've got two browsers running. I know as if one wasn't enough. Here it is. It's called Cosmic Utilities Tweaks. Okay, and there's the latest release. Yeah, you can actually install this from the store in Cosmic. I don't have Cosmic on this computer. I may do a program from the Cosmic desktop very soon in the other room. Okay. Let me stop sharing. Oh, you can hang around and ask all the questions you want. And please subscribe to the channel so you'll get a notice about the times on Sunday now that we're moving to. And also another place to hang out if you like to learn about Linux. I'll share it here with you. I hang out in this place on Discord. And they've got one here for System 76. Let me shrink that down. Here's one for System 76, Pop OS, but I'm in the Cosmic because that's all I care about. The developer is aware of the issue. And also for all you folks out there who are going to watch this on a replay, Discord now has a feature where you can change the appearance. Okay. The user interface density, I went from default to compact. Okay. And then over here, the zoom level, I went from 100 to 80. Okay. And that allows me to get more in my screen. And of course, here's Linux Mint. This is where I mostly hang out. This place is a riot. Okay. Yeah. All right. If you can get past the videos and some of the other stuff, this is a tremendous learning experience because they've got support, and then you can voice chat with some people. And then they also have live support. How about that? And the same thing with System 76. You've got General, Pop OS, and Cosmic, and some other things here. Yeah. The link, please. Okay, the link. Just a moment. What you can do is you can join Discord and then you can do a search. Let me show you again. Okay, you can do a search here on Discover up in the upper right-hand corner, and you can type in the different distros and operating systems that you want to. Also, I'm in here for many other hobbies as well. Like here, photography and filmmaking, sound design, experimental music, photography lounge, movies and filmmaking. And then there's some voice chat rooms and of course, Pop OS System 76. And we'll pop back into the Linux Mint chat. Okay. Yeah, Discord now has a Linux desktop application, which is what I'm showing you, but you can also run it in your web browser. The thing is, I prefer not to do that because I have too many tabs open in the browser. And also the fact is that I have other, I'll show the screen again. I have other desktop clients for other operating systems. Like here is the one for Linux Mint. Here is another one for System 76. development, general support. I spend all the time in here. And then, of course, as I showed you, the desktop client for Discord. Okay, because as you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on here on this computer. Okay. How about that? Did that show up? Yeah. Did that show up okay? All the way over there on Australia? Did you see everything? Did you see the whole show? Did you get what you wanted? I've never used Windboat. I haven't talked about that. I'll show you why. Wait just a second. All right. Let's see here. Because the truth is, when I want to run Windows, I usually run it in a VM. Yeah. So depending on how many people show up today, I will or will not play a game here. Sometimes if we have a bunch of people show up, I'll play a game here in Windows XP just for the heck of it, just to show that, XP is basically a dead operating system. Yeah. I always like that sound. That sound is so gratifying. Anyway, we'll get back to this later. I'll just leave that VM open. Hey, good afternoon, Andreas. How are you doing? Okay, so yeah. So to answer your question on Windboat, there are many different options to run Windows program in Linux. Windboat is relatively new. Then you've got Bottles, which is kind of a known thing. Then you've got virtual machines like I'm running, Oracle VM. Now I have found for some versions of Windows, some processes, some VMs work better than others because there's also VMware. I think VMware works better for like Windows 10, whereas Oracle seems to work better. VirtualBox works better for me under Windows XP. Matter of fact, it does stuff under Windows XP that XP was never designed to do. That's the freaky thing, because see, I've got this game controller that didn't even exist in the days of Windows XP, but yet I can use this game controller in games that were never designed to use a USB gamepad. They use a serial port game controller off of a sound card. Okay. So virtual machines can do magic, but sometimes you have to try different ones. So we talked about Bottles. We talked about the other one is called Play on Linux, which is kind of old. And this other thing called Wine, which is spelled like the wine. I want to touch all the bases here. Okay. So the best thing to do is to look at the particular game you want to play in Windows and then do research. Just type in best virtual machine or best way to play a certain game in Linux. Right. And generally, you'll get an answer. You'll have some game enthusiasts who will say, oh, this works so much better than all the other ones. See, I don't play that many games. And when I do, I like to play the older games. And then, of course, I can play all the native games in Linux. Okay, So what I don't want to do is bore people and stay on a certain topic, because computer people can sit here and talk for an hour about one thing and just bore the daylights out of folks. Okay, so I encourage you to subscribe to the channel there, Poor Bezos, and please come on back with your questions as your Linux journey continues. Come on back and join us. We're moving to we're moving to a new time this Sunday. We're going to be on Sundays now instead of Tuesdays. Of course, in your part of the world, I think that's Monday, isn't it? Could be. Okay, so hello, Andreas Brios. What questions do you have today? Come on in. And thank you for visiting, Poor Bezos. I'm glad you found us. Thank you for the thumbs up. That's appreciated. So, Andreas Biro, are you the person that I forgot to answer the question about an IT career? Sorry about that scratch in there, that irritation. I know there was a person in here a couple weeks ago, and their question got overlooked in the lines that were scrolling by, and I felt so bad. I contacted them on their YouTube channel, and they did reply back, and I was hoping they'd be back today. Okay, we've got some other folks out there. Come on in, introduce yourself. This is the Linux Hour, where we chat and we answer questions, and we talk about Linux, computers, Windows. We talk about anything except religion and politics. There you are, you're back. Thank you so much for coming back. Okay, so your question, yeah, I recognize the cat with the cigarette there. Is that a cigarette or a cigar? Okay, all right. So your question was, you're considering changing careers into information technology, and what particular part of information technology? Because there's infrastructure, there's programming, there's database management, there's documentation systems, systems engineer. Did you have any particular part of IT is so large now, and now it's also large language models, which is another word for AI. Okay, you see the term large language model. That really is talking about AI learning. So I'd love to answer your question and use my over 50 years of working with computers to give you a concise, accurate, honest answer. Okay. Infrastructure and programming, any particular part of infrastructure. And when you talk about programming, are we talking about this, or we're talking Java? Any particular languages? And also, if you've been looking at languages, which ones have you been trying at home? Yeah, it would really be helpful. Okay, you're learning C at the moment. Now, you do realize, how long have you been working with C? I have some Answers that will blow people's mind. And this will be on replay. Yeah, I noticed that you have a fairly active, busy job, and I respect what you do. And I can't see why you'd want to get out of that to work in a future right now that is so clouded. Okay, the future of computing and all computing careers right now are in great jeopardy by this thing called AI. And already large companies like Microsoft, who can afford the investment, now they claim that 30% of the new code, I'm saying new code in Windows, was generated by large language models, not even people. So I'm just having, I know you said you worked in a trauma center or you did something in the medical field with some that involves, life saving. And I know the hours are long. You probably work 12-hour shifts. But I'm curious as to why you want to leave that field and step into something. I'm going to move my hands and step into something, step off the ship, okay, and step onto another ship, okay, whose future track is not that certain. I'm just curious about that. Because the thing is, you're not inside of these companies and you have no idea. I know you talk about the hours that you work now. Okay, it's really taking a toll on your body. Okay, and you have some PS. Okay, so basically you're looking to get out of a field that's been hard on your body, because I want to give you a secret about these data centers. You know who makes all the money in the data centers? Come on, Marks. We have some people out here. Let's hear an answer. Who makes all the money in the data centers? Okay, I'm hearing you. I just want to see if anybody can give me the right answer here. Who makes all the money in the data centers? Well, Marks, you're close. Come on. Let's get an answer. I can give you the answer. It's the union electricians that install the electrical lines, because once they get the computers in place, once they get everything rolled in there and hooked up, they hire contractors to come in and hook up all the cables and do what it is those rack units are built in factories and they're all labeled where all the cables go. Well, there's enough. Even down in Houston, in Texas, they've got union electricians. The reason why, Marks, is a lot of these contracts require it. If it involves the United States government in some way, form, or fashion, they have to use union electricians to build out their data center, because the fact is, once the systems are hooked up, they're connected up, and everybody leaves, the people who made the big money were the union electricians. Okay, the people that work there's so few people in a data center. You go in a data center and there's hardly anybody there. It's just a handful of people. Okay, that's right. That's right there. unfortunately for your situation, being a union electrician is hard on the body, because the thing is I worked in some of these data centers at Hewlett Packard, and it amazed me how much those people made more money than I did. I said, how is that possible? And the truth is, you know what? Those people got paid whether they were working or not. A lot of times they come on site and they're waiting to be told what to do, or they're waiting to be given these drawings. And they get paid just to idle around. They get paid just to be there. Come on, man. Yeah. Okay. All right. The problem is, and here's the problem right now with IT, is all these people who were told 10 years ago when they were in high school, this word, okay? And if there's any young people who are in the chat here and haven't introduced themselves or said anything, you've heard that in high school. Everybody says STEM, study STEM. STEM is the future, robotics, and all of these things. So all these students were encouraged to get into engineering. And I can tell you, engineering is hard study. It's hard because to get a degree in engineering, you need 3 semesters of calculus. Okay. Calculus 1, Calculus 2, and advanced 3. And if you're a person who's mathematically challenged and you have to get a C, you can't get a D. You've got to get 3 C's or better in 3 semesters of calculus to get a degree in engineering. And if you're a person who's mathematically challenged and you have problems with what's called abstract numbers, forget about it. Forget it. Okay. So the thing is, all of these people the last 10 years have been told to get into STEM. So all these students, they did all this STEM in high school. Then they got a degree in STEM in college. Okay. Engineering, computer science, robotics, and all these different fields. And now they can't find jobs. It's the same thing we went through when I lived in Houston in the oil and gas business. Everybody said, "Oh man, get into geology, get into these fields that are engineering." Petroleum engineering was the big thing. Go to University of Texas and get a degree in petroleum engineering. Okay, the same thing. Get a degree in geology. Well, all these people down there in Houston went and did that, and then they came back to Houston and they couldn't find work, and they had to actually leave Houston. Okay. Yeah. So my advice is, my truthful and honest advice is I would not encourage anybody right now, today, to start towards a degree or start, because the problem is by the time you finish learning C and you're going to be good enough where somebody's going to hire you, the problem is all of these companies, they don't hire you. You have to have a certification or you have to have a degree. So by the time you get good enough at C, a machine will already be able to beat you. Think about that thought. By the time you finish being good enough at C to where you can impress an employer with your skills, a machine will already be able to do it. And let's face it, these companies are all about getting rid of people. People are a hassle. People show up late, people call in sick, people want all these benefits, they're a drain on the bottom line. These companies want to do everything they can to get rid of people. That's just the way our world works. Okay. You know, if you can get an IT job in a hospital, now that's a winning proposition there. If you can get some kind of IT that AI can't replace, that's what I would go for. I would look at everything and ask the question, can AI replace this? And see, that's the thing, is that AI can't come out to your house and fix your air conditioner. AI can't come out to your house and reach under your kitchen sink and repair a leaking pipe, or AI can't unstop your toilet. Okay. AI can't repair your car. But see, the thing is, programming is difficult work. It's very difficult. It's very mind labor intensive. But because it's binary, in the end, it's all about zeros and ones. Okay, another thing that AI is going to replace, AI is going to get rid of a lot of accounting people, because accounting involves numbers. That's all it really is. AI is going to get rid of that. Can you imagine having AI do your taxes for you? Yeah, absolutely. I was just in an operating room here this last April, and I can tell you there's a lot of instruments, computers. They had these huge, over the operating table, they had these huge, like television like panels. It was like, the deck of the Starship Enterprise. Right. Anything that involves numbers and mathematics and what's called repetitive programming, where you keep trying different things until you find the code that works, and that's all that does. Anything that involves those three things, AI is going to take those jobs first. Yeah. Okay. I encourage people to get into to some people related fields like teaching, although some of that's going to be at risk of AI, and career counseling, some things like that. No, you didn't mention that. Oh, wow. I tell you, I bet you've seen a lot. Did you do that when you were in the military? Is that how you learned your skills? Okay, because I live here in far northeastern Tennessee, but here it's popular for quite a few young people to join the military to learn some skills and get some money toward a college degree. Yeah. Okay. We've had a very interesting discussion. Boy, we brought up a lot of interesting topics. Does anybody else out there who's standing by in the wings have a comment or a question about what we're talking about here? We're talking about career paths in information technology now that AI is kind of out there. Right now, only the biggest companies like Google, Amazon, and Microsoft can afford the kind of power, the kind of AI power it takes to replace people. There's going to be a lot of mid-level firms. Let me give an example. I have a friend who writes a software for schools. Okay. Um, his job is probably safe for another 10 years because that company only has 100 people. It's the really big companies that are going to start dumping people in mass. The huge companies, companies like Oracle, Microsoft, the big ones, Google. Man, Google's going to be letting a lot of people go here in the next 5 years. Apple will be another one. Okay. And please come back and ask any other questions. Let's kind of bounce this back and forth from week to week, see how we feel about it. See, here's the problem. These mid-level companies, say like a software company that only has 100 employees, for example, they only want to hire people with experience. It's usually the mega companies that hire people fresh out of college. So there's a thought for you on that. There's a catch-22 when you get out of college. It's called getting your first job. And the corundum is companies want people with experience, but they don't want to pay a lot of money. But you can be hired relatively cheaply because you're fresh out of college, but you don't have the experience. So you have to get hired to get the experience. See how that works? Anyway, it's great to have people here with us today. And okay. Man, I've done so many different types of coding. I don't even code anymore except this. All I do is bash scripting. I don't code anymore. I quit coding when I went to work for Hewlett Packard and worked with HPUX. Whoops, I'm a bad typist. AI could take me in any minute. Yeah. So anyway, for those who are just wondering what the hell is going on here, this is the Linux Hour where we chat and we talk about all things Linux and computing. We can talk about Windows if you want. We can talk about anything except religion and politics. Yeah, photography is a fascinating thing too. I wouldn't recommend that as a career at this point. It's photography is becoming more and more of a niche field. Because see, back in the days of the magazines, when magazines were published every week and there were magazines everywhere, magazines needed a lot of photographers. And now magazines are going out of business, they're going online. A lot of magazines are gone. And they don't need photographers anymore. All this stuff is online and they just need a couple people with it. A lot of pictures you see in magazines are taken with iPhones now. Not even taken with there's large format camera. That's a dinosaur. Yeah. But back in the days when magazines were published every week and you went to the magazine stand and all these different hobbies, everything from metal detecting to amateur radio to model railroading to, and then of course all the interior decorating, magazines, architecture, a lot of those have gone out of business. Yeah. Well, hello there, Associate Minister Reserve Deacon. And well, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for dropping by today. How can we help you? Okay, well, anyway, what we talk about here is Linux and computing, hardware, software. We can talk about Windows. Like I said, we can talk about a lot of different things. It's really driven by the people who join here. And also, we're moving to a new time starting this Sunday, this weekend. We're going to be at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoons. We won't be here on Thursday anymore. Now, if you're a subscriber, you will get a notification of the live program that's coming up here this Sunday. But it's at 3 o'clock, so people can go to church in the morning and in the evening, and we're not going to interrupt the church service. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But what we discovered is a lot of computer people don't care about the NFL. So we're hoping we'll have a better turnout here. Okay, well, okay. What's your take on NVIDIA and Linux? Okay, my take on that is all throughout my Linux journey, which is 9 years, I have always used Intel and NVIDIA. Now, and I've had nothing but success with that combination. Now, what is happening is with the latest NVIDIA drivers, which were introduced to remedy some security shortcomings, okay, they're basically big security patches. They dropped the GTX one, I'm just going to put 1,000 line. Okay, they're still supported and the drivers will still work, but they'll no longer receive security updates because those drivers have been around for what, 5 years for the GTX 1000 series. That'd be the 1050, the 1060, and the 1070. Whoops, 60 and the 1070. And actually, I've got a couple 1030s that are these silent GTX 1030s, which are silent. They have a giant heat sink. Okay. Giant heat sink. So I've already tested that on one of those computers. Because see, I've got one computer in a room where we need absolute silence. So we have a GPU in there with, it's a giant heat sink the size of a small paving stone. Okay. And so when the new drivers came out, I think the 580 drivers, the 550s were the last one to directly support that card. I'm not worried about it because it'll still run. You're just not going to get the, you're not going to get the latest support for those cards, but you're still going to be able to use it. Okay, do you think knowing the 7 major desktop distribution families will help a person new to Linux? Well, hello there. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Shriek Linux Uganda. Hello, Kingsport. Okay, Kampala, Uganda. Great. Well, thank you for joining us today. So I want to answer Associate Minister Reserve Deacon first because last week, a couple weeks ago, somebody's question got lost here in the chat. So do you think knowing the 7 major family will help a person new to Linux? I think the thing that's going to help somebody new to Linux first is diving in and start with Linux Mint. And what you can do is like put Linux Mint on one computer, and if you have another computer, a spare computer, you can use it to test all the other ones. There's a resource here called DistroWatch, and I'm not sure if you know, as a new person, we're going to show it here on the screen, okay? I'm not sure as a new person that you've seen this before, but it's a fantastic resource. Okay, here we go. It's called Distro Watch. One thing that they've got here is over here is called the Beginner's Guide. So this has some beginner's information to Linux. And then also you can read about the top distributions. Now there are actually over 300 distributions here. So you said the top 7, that would be these here. Okay. What you can do is you can read about these without even having to install them on your system, learn a little bit about it, like Endeavor. Okay, you can take a look at the desktop, see what that's all about. You can go to the home page. And if you want to, you can download the distro onto a USB and you can try it. You can read reviews. Okay, the average visitor review is 8.5. This is a fantastic resource for a new person. Let's compare that. The average visitor is an 8.8 from 937 reviews. That's a lot of reviews. Okay. So this is a great resource for somebody new. When I first got into Linux, I spent a lot of time here on Distro Watch. Did that help any? So Associate Minister, have you actually installed Linux yet on a computer? We can start with that question. Have you actually done it yet? Have you made the plunge? This is a non-alcoholic drink, by the way. Yeah, if we could just get a quick answer there on that. Well, the thing is that before I was showing the drink in the can here in the screen, and people took it as an endorsement. Okay, but I'm not going to do that anymore. I pour it out into this glass here, and this is a set that was, you can't see it in the light, but it's got my initials in the glass there itself. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see it. Yeah, and these were a gift. Okay, so on an Arch-based distro called Shriek Linux, I use a script to install, but it wanted me to use Calamaris. It fails whenever I include it with a CPIO error. What can I do? Okay. Well, just the truth is, this is the drink. Okay, but people thought that it was an endorsement, so I just cut it out. Okay, back to the more serious question here. The question is, why are you using an Arch-based distro in the first place? Yeah, because Arch is for advanced Linux users. Yeah. Oh, with everything forks from Debian and Arch. So Ubuntu forks from Debian, Fedora open source. They all fork from Arch. Okay, so you were talking about the 7 major. which others. Okay. Well, it's good to learn, but the way to learn is just to go through each one. But I would start with the easy ones first. I would start with Debian, okay, and then Ubuntu, and then Fedora is highly recommended. But Fedora itself was based on Arch, so is OpenSUSE and Gentoo. Slackware is very difficult. That's probably one you want to leave for last, because with Slackware, you have to do everything yourself. Yeah. Yeah, Fedora's gained immense popularity lately for people who want to do gaming and have the latest drivers and software packages. A lot of people have gone to Fedora Workstation. And also, Fedora usually includes a more recent version of the Plasma desktop, which is rapidly evolving. Okay, and usually with Fedora, you're going to get 6.5 or better on that version. Well, I don't think there are any distros based on Slackware. All I know is that long ago, before I even knew what Linux was, there were these people in my neighborhood who were playing with Slackware all the time, and they acted like they were computer gods. Yeah, I don't think there's any distros based on Slackware, and in Gentoo, it's kind of the same thing too, but I think I'm sure Gentoo is an Arch-based operation where you pretty much have to do everything yourself. Some of these Arch-based distributions, they don't even have an installer. Okay, so what is Gentoo based on? Because I've never even gotten near it. Okay, well, that answers the question right there. It's its own animal. It's not a zebra and it's not a horse. Okay, there is Salix based on Slackware. That's right. Compile everything. And then there's another thing too called Linux from scratch, where you basically put everything together yourself. You find the kernel, you get the new utilities, and you do it all yourself. You basically make your own distro is what you do. That's right, it is a different beast. But people in these chat rooms like to make fun of these newbies and say, well, if you don't like it, just do LFS. And new people don't know what LFS means. You know, it's kind of a slur. Okay. Hey, I see we have some more people who joined us today. Come on in, put your name here, introduce yourself in the chat window. We have a little time left for some more questions and some more conversation today. What we're talking about here is Linux and computers and all kinds of things technology related. Come on in. There's no question too big or too small. So to answer your question about that error message, you know, I have seen that somewhere before, this error here, but I can't tell you how to fix it right now in live real time. Yeah, make a knit. CP, and then I think IO stands for IO Arab. It's make a knit. Yeah, it's having a problem somewhere finding a package or something that it needs. So how'd you all find out about this live here in the afternoon? Because we're moving to Sundays now, beginning here this next Sunday at 3 o'clock. Oh yeah, Elio works as grub, right? Although very few systems now use Elio to boot, because now there's system deboot. Okay. And then there's another system of booting called kernel stub. And almost Debian and a lot of Debian derivatives, Debian based, will support the kernel stub booting. And there's system deboot, and then of course you've got grub, but Elio is way out. Well, now that I agree 100% with what you're saying. The thing is, most people want to enjoy Linux. They want to install it, get past the pain points, and they want to use it as a daily driver. Yeah, so for the average person, I wouldn't recommend that, because unless you're troubleshooting for other people all the time, okay, because you said earlier, experience made learning and troubleshooting Linux a lot easier. Well, yeah, that if you're troubleshooting for a lot of other people, knowing those 7 would be beneficial. But for the average person, especially a normie who's getting into Linux, I'd recommend just sticking with a Debian-based Linux distribution. Wouldn't you agree, Marks, with that assessment? I don't think we're going to take have a normie get into. Well, the person right above you said, I found in my experience knowing the 7 major desktop distribution families made learning and troubleshooting in Linux a lot easier. Well, it might be. The truth is, see, you might be in a different country, but the truth is a lot of people don't want to spend time learning anymore. People want things easy. People don't want to read. People don't want to learn. The cell phone has killed all curiosity. And a lot of people just want to turn on a computer and play a game. They don't want to learn about grub and all these other 7 different major pieces of Linux. We're just talking the fact here. And then, of course, for Ubuntu, there's Ubuntu Studio. And Ubuntu Studio is quite big. It's a 7 GB plus ISO, but it includes everything you need. That's why it's so big. Yeah. Okay. And AV Linux is another good one too. Yeah. Audio, video, Linux. And Ubuntu Studio are highly recommended. Ubuntu Studio makes it so easy. They figured out all the problems and they packaged it, and they've got all the major editors and sequencers and all the major freeware on there. That's why I think it's at 7.5 GB ISO. Okay, we got a couple other people out there who joined. Come on in, introduce yourself here in the window. Let's keep those questions going. Yeah. The thing is Linux shouldn't need that much troubleshooting. Today's distributions are designed very well. Look at Linux Mint. How long has it been around now? I know it's been around over 10 years. I mean, they've got it down. On some of these distributions, you have to try to break something to break it. They're pretty good. They're pretty reliable. Yeah. The problem is you get these new users and they want to mess around with stuff. And that's when things start breaking. And some of these distributions won't even let you peek at the file system and the core utilities. You can't even get into like directories like Etsy, and you can't get into user share applications. You can't get into the binary directories. Those are all walled off. You can't even see them. The only way to do it is through the terminal. And one of the distributions that does that is Deepin. And another one is Cosmic. Now, Cosmic is not an immutable desktop. Deepin is. But Cosmic, the file manager won't even let you look at files that are outside of home. Yeah, you have to use a terminal to do that. And Deepin uses a separate home area, a separate partition for home. So that's what we try to do here. We try to actually encourage people to experiment with Linux, try it. And we have some good recommendations for beginner-friendly Linux distros to try. That's right. Yeah, there are several atomic distros out there. One of them is for gaming. It's Arch-based. We talked about that a couple weeks ago here, and let me give you the name of it. It's this one here. And the beauty about this is when you are downloading the ISO, you can choose what desktop you want with Bazite. You get to I hope that whole link showed up on your end. Oops. Oopsie. Things happen when you get a lot of things running. Yeah, with that, before it actually downloads the ISO, it's going to step you through, ask you, do you have AMD graphics, Intel, NVIDIA, and then it gives you a choice between the GNOME desktop and Plasma. When it's getting ready for you to download the ISO, it goes through a series of questions that you answer. So on that one, you can actually choose what desktop you want. And it's based on an atomic build. Okay. Well, we've been on here for an hour and 15. For the sake of my co-host and myself, I like to keep it to an hour and 30 at the top end, because we're not going to run this thing for 3 hours, and we're not going to show my bedroom and my cats and the rest of my house and do all these other things, because we like to just stay on point here. So do we have any other questions while we've got a very impressive group today of visitors? And don't forget, this is the last Thursday. This coming Sunday will be our new time. Every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, United States, will be our new home. This is our last one on Thursday. Just a reminder about that. So do we have any other questions here? Please come now. As I say in amateur radio, please come now. That's right. It's this Sunday. Yeah. It's this Sunday. But Marks, if you want to take a break, you don't have to show up and co-host if you want to take a day off. Remember, I did that one on Sunday night at 9 p.m. all by myself. That unannounced one. Okay, and I understand. Yeah. Okay, great. And the thing is, if you can't attend or listen in, you can always watch it on the replay. But it'd be great to have you. Now, the thing is that I understand you probably work on a rotating shift. So even though you can't make it this Sunday, you can probably make it another Sunday. And the reason Sunday was picked is because, we're hoping that we could get some more people on a non-work day here involved, because our attendance on Thursday has been spotty. Some weeks we'll have a lot of people, and then other Thursdays we won't have a lot of people. So trying to get that more consistent. What I'm really hoping is we'll get some more new people coming in here and asking questions. So are there any new people out there who'd like to ask a question today? And I misspelled a word up there. I just now noticed it's not grum. It should be grub. Yeah. I have poor typing skills. I don't know how I ever made it in computing. I've done a lot of database programming. I did that for about 10 years. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that could be. That could be. I'm so sorry to hear that's taken a toll on your body, because people are really needed in medical fields. And in some areas, it's just an extreme shortage of people in some parts of the country, especially where the cost of living is high. Yeah. Okay, well, we're down to 3 folks here. I guess some people left, and that's cool too, because I like to kind of wrap it up. What I don't like to do is to close down. Okay. That's possible. I'll tell you, people don't think about that. Man, the military really beats you up, even if you're not on the front line. We have a lot of people out there who are suffering. And see, right now, today's the first day I was able to do push-ups again. I spent 15 years playing ice hockey, and it beat my body up pretty bad. And what happened was the triceps tendon got swollen, and when the triceps tendon gets swollen, it presses against that nerve in your elbow, and it's a constant pain that won't go away. And so I had to quit doing push-ups. And today I was able to do 100 half. I do 2 sets of 50, what's called half push-ups, where I don't use the full weight of my body. I'm like at an angle. My feet are here, and where I'm doing a push-up is up here. So I'm not parallel with the floor. I'm not using all my body weight. Let's see. My feet are here. And then I've got a device that I do the push-up against, so I'm not using all my body weight, hoping that that tendon is not going to swell up again. Okay, well, you can also become a subscriber, and you'll get a notification, but it's 3 p.m. Eastern Time, U.S. Okay. But see, that's the thing, is that once you injure these tendons and they'll never be like they were when you were young again. Once these tendons get irritated and stretched and aggravated, they'll bother you the rest of your life. And that's what's happening to me. My shoulders, my elbows, my knees, my ankles. Yeah. Well, thank you. What I'm trying to do is to give it rest. I gave it 2 weeks rest, and today's the first day I tried to do that, because, the truth is, I like doing push-ups because it develops muscle relatively quickly and efficiently versus using weights. I have been using some hand weights, but I think push-ups are a better exercise. Unfortunately, that triceps tendon decided it didn't like doing 200 a day. Things happen, man. That's what we talk about here. We talk about all kinds of stuff. So before we go ahead and end this stream, and thank you so much for coming in today, everybody. I really appreciate it. I love that I'm trying to think of what it's called, your little picture, your cat avatar. That I like that one. The avatar I have, I designed myself. What that is, in case anybody's wondering, my avatar, that's a runic symbol in the middle of that circle. Yeah. So before we end the live stream, are there any other additional questions? Please come now. I appreciate everybody who came in today. I think we had a good time together, didn't we? So please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you'll get notifications. And everybody have a wonderful day. And my name is Harry. That's Harry. And thank you so much, everybody, for coming in today. And everyone, have a wonderful day and take care. And we'll see you again soon. So signing off from beautiful Kingsport, Tennessee, USA. Goodbye, everybody.